In November 2018, the studio and gallery mounted an exhibition of new paintings by Iain Carby. These were fresh from his studio, and indeed the paint on some of these works was barely dry. The figures on the labels are accession numbers, indicating how many paintings he has created. Number 1338 appears to have been the latest. Iain Carby is a successful professional artist. He creates brightly coloured, stylised landscape paintings, where he reduces the various elements, houses, trees, bridges, etc., into simplified forms, using a restricted palette of strong colours with minimal modelling. They are lit by an unremitting overhead sun, casting no shadows. He's a master at perspective, so his abstract landscapes, though reduced to simple elements, are in no way flat, but clearly three-dimensional.
Here we have Dreamtime. Dreamtime is actually a composition of an old bridge connecting a small town called Besalú with the mainland in Catalonia, in the foothills of the Pyrenees. Now again, it was a composition that involved a lot of perspective. As you can see, the bridge comes right across and joins onto this town with the steeples and so on and so forth. But there's also a counter perspective going on with the red and white lines, with the blue and red lines, and with the blue and white lines over there. There's exaggerations of all sorts of things, and it becomes more and more surreal as you go on. But there's a reality in there as well. It's not totally surreal. There's me sitting here with my fishing rod, quite happily there. There's a young couple of lovers up here, that's not me, it's a long time before that. There are fish, there's a boat here. This has been brought here from the sea, all the way inland to Besalú, which is, as I said, the name of this small town. It's an element of play, I think, with this perspective, and bringing things into it that are not normal, they are beyond reality or surreal. I say the boats in the sky, there are arches which aren't arches. I don't know, it was playtime, dream time, all these sort of things, and ideas, things that come into your head, and you grab them and just place them in the painting, and then work with that and around that to eventually end up with this. And it's still dream time, and I could carry on forever doing this. This painting here is entitled A Gull's Eye View of Stonehaven in Aberdeenshire. It's done partly to take people out of their comfort zone, and also me out of my comfort zone. I've got to use old skills that I had when I was a draftsman working offshore or abroad in various plants I worked on, and taking myself above this townscape or landscape into a position which nobody will ever see. And it's the elements in it to try and make a composition that is actually going to work. But people can also take themselves round the town and round the harbour and get themselves involved. And they will then start to, once they've identified one area that they know, or one house they know, or one boat they know, they can then add onto that experience and take themselves round the town and say, he's got that wrong, that garden isn't there, or that tree's not there, but it's still Stonehaven. It doesn't matter, and it's also bluer than it's ever going to be in its life. This little painting here is titled The palms caress the boats on the return from the sea, and it's based on the story of Puff the Magic Dragon in the land of Honolulu. Now this came to me, like a lot of paintings do, as just a fleeting thought and maybe a little bit of a tune, and I said I can paint that. So we started off with this, and it was the waveforms, and there'd been 2 or 3 canvases, if I remember correctly, on this, where we had these waveforms followed one or the other, some contrary, and so on and so forth. But through it all was the little house and the little boats and the little trees and the pathways. So there was a story of Puff coming out of his little house and going down to the boats, and then going to another house down here further on, and he'd return, and every morning he'd come out of the same house and go back to the same house every day. So this was quite a fascinating story, particularly as we were involved with children in the Prince's Trust at the time, and they could all tell this story, and if I ever got the story wrong, they would tell me. Puff always came out of the same house and always ended up in the same house. Now this was painted initially as a bit of fun and a bit of storytelling, but the funny thing being, adults bought them all. So maybe there's a lesson in there for us all, that a bit of fun and a bit of art and a bit of storytelling all work together, and they can be very, very successful and also very pleasing.
His paintings often have a subtle, playful humour. In 3 Fish and a Lamp, he creates a surreal world in which visually ambiguous forms appear. Thus, the apple on the right is also a little hill with trees growing on its summit, while its interior contains the viaduct of arches and a grid bearing numbers. On the left, the arches of this viaduct appear to open into houses. On the wall of the opening, we see 3 Picasso-style fish hanging, and beside that, the lamp referred to in the title, while the other arch absurdly contains a staircase to an upper story.
These 6 little paintings here are part of a series of red trees, chili trees, whatever, but I've entitled them all Red Trees, and they've become quite iconic and quite a surprise to me on how people interpret what I've done and use those interpretations to fulfill something which can be quite unexpected. Unexpected to me, certainly. An example was a lady who had had the unfortunate experience of having a child stillborn, and she used this icon as a single red tree as a flame, almost an eternal flame, to represent this child that's not there. This gave me quite a bit of concern over people's interpretations, but then I realised that what I've done is of no concern to me whatsoever. It's of other people's concerns and their interpretations, and that's totally out with any control I have over that, and I wouldn't want to control over it. And it's been a very, I was going to say pleasant experience. It's not been a pleasant experience, but it's been such a human learning experience to me that to find people have interpreted my work in this way, and it's been an honour, quite honestly. So that's the story of red trees. Multiple red trees can be families. It can be anything you want. And that is quite a wonderful thing to have achieved. If I've done that in my life, then I've done something useful.
Iain's work has an obvious charm, and many of the people who visited his exhibition found that viewing them raised their mood and lifted their spirits. Those who know Iain Carby are aware of his boundless optimism and creativity, but those who have never met him will get a sense of this through seeing his paintings.